Hello everyone. Now, are there people who are untypable? People about whom it would not make a lot of sense to say this person is an INFJ or this person is an ISFP or an ESTJ, whatever type. Are there people that it doesn't really make sense to type? This is a question that I'm often asked. This is a question that I see people ask themselves outside of my DMs, in public kind of forums or Discord servers, in YouTube comments as well. And mostly it's usually triggered by the fact that people tend to want to type just about everybody. And then others might object, well, can we really type Hitler because what if he was a psychopath? Or what if he was a narcissist? Or what if he had paranoid personality disorder? So on. And it's a legitimate question. And actually my answer to this is pretty clear cut. No, it's not possible to type everyone, which means that it directly follows that there are people in this world who are untypable. You'll see that later in the video I will add a kind of a point of nuance to this affirmation, which is basically to say that doesn't mean forever untypable. Okay. What I would say now is there's probably between 1% and 3% at least of the world's population that is not typable, perhaps more. So if you think about it, it's a lot of people. 1 to 3% of the world's population, and anywhere on the internet as well. There's possibly 1 to 5%, saying 1 to 3 conservatively, possibly 1 to 5% that are just not typable. Why? As you know, I'm viewing type at this point in my career as a typologist as primarily determined by the fantasy structure given by the dominant function. And there are people, namely people who have severe personality disorders, maybe not the more quote-unquote light personality disorders, but certainly anything severe, cluster B, personality disorders, cluster A, personality disorders. People who are borderline, people who are narcissistic, people who are psychopathic, people who are psychotic, people who have paranoid personality disorders, people who have, possibly schizoid personality disorder as well. Again, it depends on the level of severity. Sometimes you hear, this personality disorder sounds very bad, but if it's at a low level of severity, you're closer to the goal of identifying a type for this person. The reason is this. If our unconscious is articulated as a web of fantasies, themselves hinging on a fundamental fantasy, a core fundamental fantasy, that is given its name in the area of unconscious motivation by the dominant function, the unconscious narrative that the dominant function gives us, then we have to assume that there is such an identifiable, that is to say, coherent web of interlocking fantasies, interlocking narratives. But in personality disorders, particularly in severe personality disorders, we know that one of the manifestations, what is one of the expressions of having a personality disorder, is that your unconscious, of course, there is a structure, a scaffolding of fantasies, but it's all twisted. It's often very depleted, very impoverished, okay? And to the extent that it is very impoverished, to the extent that it is very depleted, to the extent that it is very twisted, there is no way for someone external to identify the type of the person. What you're going to be able to identify is going to be muddled and twisted by the disorder. Okay? So the element of nuance here is that if the person heals from their personality disorder, and that happens, then it will become possible to type them. But until then, it is a vain enterprise. If we assume that Hitler had severe personality disorder, I don't know, I wasn't there, I haven't diagnosed him, and I don't have I'm not qualified to diagnose a personality disorder. But imagine a psychiatrist nowadays were to able to look at him and say he had severe narcissism or psychopathy, whatever he had. It then would, by definition, not make sense to type him. Same applies to just about anybody who has a severe personality disorder. If that's 1 to 3 to 5% of the population, well, that's our percentage of people who can't currently be typed. Hopefully the reasoning makes sense, but let me know in the comments if you agree. Guys, don't forget you can support me on Patreon, only for a few bucks a month or a few bucks a year. It's really not that much. You get access to some really cool perks, like access to my big and ever widening library of deep dive videos where you can access all my deep thoughts in long format, 20 to 30 minutes on all things INFJ, INTJ, types in general, and like mysticism, magic, memory, spirituality, pretty much anything. The questions are usually asked by the community on Discord, because that's another good perk. You access our Discord. Come join our community. There's like a good number of us now, and we have fun. You can interact with me as well. Now, also, you help me keep this going. These are not easy times. I need your support more than ever. This couldn't exist, this channel, without you, so please consider it. And don't forget my 2 books on the INFJ, the Ecstatic Soul, a new look at the INFJ personality. This is the deepest investigation of the INFJ mind. If you want to understand the INFJ mind, you need to get these books, available at the link below. And at the first link below is the sequel, The Infinite Soul, which extends the research of the Ecstatic Soul and brings it into the external world, into reality. Okay, guys, get these 2 books, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.